Hey guys, really quick before I get into this video, I know it might seem weird that I'm going from making a Bobby Burns video to a Spider-Man video. It's because I'm going to be doing kind of a blend of content on this channel, at least that's the plan. I'm going to talk about fictional characters, actors, YouTubers. I find that it's always characters or people that truly interest me most in media. So that's my game plan for now, so please try to stick around because I'm hoping to make some really good content that you guys will enjoy. What makes Spider-Man so special to me? I have Spider-Man t-shirts, mugs, posters, artwork, pop figures, tons and tons of comic books, all 6 movies on Blu-ray. I pre-ordered Spider-Man PS4 months and months ago. But why? I don't think people truly get it. At 24 years old, why am I so obsessed with a comic book superhero? For me, it goes further than just the fact that he has a pretty awesome costume and swings from tall skyscrapers, though that is pretty cool. Firstly, I think it's the fact that neither Peter Parker or Spider-Man ever give up. Quality number 1 is determination. Unless the guy's completely limp on the ground and defeated, he's gonna get back up and fight. He kinda reminds me of Captain America in this scene.
You just don't know when to give up, do you?
I can do this all day.
Now let's take a look at Homecoming, since this is a movie that understands his character well. When Vulture initially took down Spider-Man in Homecoming, did Spidey just toss in the towel, shrug his shoulders, and say, ah, fuck it, that's not my problem? No, he said that asshole has some big dangerous weapons out there, so let me go out there and fight him.
Obviously the source of the weapons, I gotta take him down.
Take him down now, huh?
He literally doesn't even have his fancy suit by the time he fights him, and he takes him down. If he knows that a fight is worth fighting, he will drop literally everything else in his life to make that fight happen. He's also determined to drive villains out of their minds by never shutting up, literally ever. It's hysterical.
That thing does not obey the laws of physics at all.
Hey, Big Bird! This doesn't belong to you!
Is that a real knife?
Yes, it's a real knife.
My weakness, it's small knives.
Now let's move on to the more inspiring aspect of this character, Peter Benjamin Parker. He's an extremely self-aware, tenacious, caring guy who is determined to keep his loved ones safe. In fact, it's the whole reason that he wears a mask to begin with, to protect the ones he cares about. This was something that Peter understood at 15 years old. Peter fails to have the time to spend on his relationships, but damn it, he's dedicated enough to try, no matter what, to make it right. Let's first address this from a comic book perspective. In the Amazing series, Peter chased after Gwen Stacy for years. I mean, this carried on for so many issues, guys. In fact, there's no extended period of time in these early comics where they're actually together for more than a brief period. It's because Peter Parker is such a fuck up to everyone else in his life because Spider-Man's always at the forefront, so he can never dedicate his time to committing to anything with Gwen, and it causes her to keep rejecting him over and over again. It's only until Peter never stops fighting for her that he can finally get her to date him. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2, when Gwen gets her Oxford scholarship and wants to move away, Peter gets pissed. But what does he do? He fights for her. He fights to get her back and decides he'll travel the world for her.
Every single one of them. We've all got to make a choice. Right? Why choose you?
But what happens to Gwen in the comics and in the movies? She dies. And what happens to Peter Parker? He loses his fucking mind. It even causes him to kill the Green Goblin. Peter is just a complete asshole to everyone around him and wants nothing but to have Gwen back. But why? It's because Peter Parker is human. He has money issues, a never-ending battle of love messes and triangles, messy friendships. Okay, you get the point. His life's a mess. I'm not saying that by default that makes him a good character, but everything that surrounds his life feels, well, real. Spider-Man is a hysterical, adventurous, fun superhero, but Peter Parker's life just feels kind of serious. Peter's life feels real, it feels serious, emotional, and just like our life, sometimes it just feels plain shitty. And it's because Peter Parker is a flawed character. He could have prevented his uncle's death, but his huge ass ego got in the way. But that inspires Peter to better himself and motivates him to be a better superhero. He almost destroyed his relationship with Tony Stark halfway through Homecoming.
All I have, I'm nothing without this suit.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it, okay?
But look what happened to their relationship since. A powerful bond, because Peter bettered himself. Plus, sometimes you love him for his fuck-ups, because in some ways you're like, yep, been there, or yeah, I might have done the same thing if that was me. But you also love him because he's such a good person and he tries really, really really hard. In general, Peter Parker is also just an extremely sensitive guy, and no, unlike characters like Clark Kent, it's not just a persona, it's just how Peter is. In the comics, Flash Thompson has always bullied Peter in school. Before his powers, he was too weak to fight back, and when he gets his powers, he's still unable to fight back because then people would know his secret identity. Each and every time Flash would bully him, it really affected Peter in the comics. And I don't mean he was pissed off for a second and walked away from it. No, the guy has an internal monologue with himself about how upset he is each and every time he gets bullied. That's what makes Karen such a good character, because he can talk to her when he has a lot in his mind.
It's really nice to have somebody to talk to. Hey, how long we been here anyways?
37 minutes.
What?
But anyway, the point of this all is that he's a relatable, interesting character in the sense that he's an outcast, wallflower, lonely, emotional guy. But aside from his humanistic character flaws, he's also just a good person and wants nothing else but to see his aunt, girlfriend, or other close friends happy. A well-written Peter Parker is also what makes his alter ego so amazing. Spider-Man works so well because in many ways, he's everything Peter Parker isn't. He's confident, really funny, and he's absolutely fearless.
Hey, my name is Spider-Man. You can call me Webhead, you can call me Amazing. Just don't call me late for dinner, get it?
But still, the genius mind of Peter also makes Spider-Man that much more interesting as Peter builds the web shooters, spider tracers, web wings, and many other elements that make Spider-Man as special as he is. It's not like Peter just woke up one day in spandex and web shooters and decided to web onto a building. No, he earned the ability to do these things. But as I mentioned, Peter Parker feels very human as a character, and I think that's what makes Spider-Man feel so incredible. Jumping off of 1,000 foot tall skyscrapers and catching his web on a building at the last second obviously sounds ridiculous. It's a fantasy, but the fact that it's a guy like Peter Parker who gets to experience this fantasy makes the hero that much more special. Because Peter is just an average, run-of-the-mill, struggling New Yorker who wants to make this world a better place.
So you want to look out for the little guy, you want to do your part, make the world a better place, all that, right?
Yeah, just looking out for the little guy.
And when you give a guy like that the ability to do things like this,
Hey, man.
it's inspiring to me. Also, when Peter Parker fails, Spider-Man succeeds. And I think that's why Homecoming is one of my favorite Spider-Man movies, if not my favorite. Peter Parker messes up so much, guys. He messes up with his aunt, he messes up with Tony, with Liz, with pretty much everyone who isn't Ned. But he uses his alter ego as his motivator. Peter Parker was crushed under the rubble after facing off against the Vulture. But when Peter Parker remembers the words of Tony, he summons the strength of Spider-Man to lift the rubble. He says, "Come on, Spider-Man," over and over and over again.
If you're nothing without this suit, then you shouldn't have it.
Come on, Peter. Come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man.
In many ways, Spider-Man and Peter feel like two completely different people, and Peter needs to summon Spider-Man's strength to get him through the struggles of his life. And that's such a cool fantasy when I really reflect on it. Obviously, when I was younger, I wish I had the ability to be Spider-Man. But now, as a 24-year-old, in many ways, Spider-Man is more of a metaphor of being a better, stronger version of myself. I don't sit at home imagining myself building web shooters so I can go around Manhattan and try to swing around tall buildings. Okay, I usually don't sit at home imagining myself building web shooters so I can go around Manhattan swinging off of tall buildings, but I do find myself inspired by Spider-Man in moments of weakness, and that is why I love this superhero. That's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching.